All right, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, whatever time of day it is. Sorry about the background noise. That's just the way it's going to have to be because I am an amateur starting this for the second show. Not quite sure where it's going to lead. All that doesn't matter. The fact is, I'm here, you're here, and let's get started. It's 2025. Can't say anything exciting has happened or been released that would have anything to do with the oil and gas industry that I have seen. Not saying that it hasn't. About the biggest thing on our minds has been football and the terrorist attack. Now, we can't do anything about that. We won't do anything about that. And we've been lied to about that. So that's just the way it goes. Which brings me to my point. We have been conditioned over the last 20 years that terrorists aren't terrorists, progressives aren't progressives. The bad people are not the bad people. It's all in your head, folks. It's in your head. What's that song? It's in your head, in your head. I don't know. I'm not a singer. Don't pretend to be. Don't care to be. Um, that being said, it makes me think. So, what all this should have made us do is think. Let's think about what's going on here. Let's think about where we're going, where we've been, what we're being told, what our version of reality is. Because if you turn on the news and you listen to it, I can tell you right now, everybody's excited. Everybody thinks that, oh, it's only a few more days. Donald Trump's going to take office and we're going to hit this golden era. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, people, but there is not going to be a golden era anytime soon. There is an opportunity that this could happen, but it's probably not going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe in the next 4. The best we can hope that Trump does is live through this. We can hope he puts the tools in place, uses the right people, and lays the groundwork for us to build going forward. The current situation is we've been controlled by the banks, the I hate to use these Hollywood terms, but the caliphate, caliphon, whatever. You look, I'm smarter than this, but the bottom line is there are powers that be that we can refer to as the deep state. We can call it the cabal. We can do whatever we want to do. But those that have money and those that have power do not like the direction we are going. The average person has the ability to become very wealthy and to join their ranks, and that's not what their goal is. They don't want the average person to join their ranks. They want the average person to suffer and do as they say, not as they do. Here over the last 15, 20 years, too many people have been doing as they do, and it's upset the apple cart. Why do I say that? It's apparent in everything we do. 20 years ago, how many billionaires were there? Not that many. I can guarantee you that. And how many are there today? More than we can count. I don't know what. Well, we know what it is. Technology. It's moving too fast for how they like it. To me, they can't control it. So I would bet that the best thing that we can do is not get caught up in the hype. You got to realize that everything happens because they allow it to. In today's world where everything we do, see, say, and it doesn't matter how you cut it, they're watching us. You use your phone, they're watching you. You turn on your GPS, they're tracking you. It's hard to say, it's sad to say that we don't live in a free country. It's excuse me. It's just a new way of life. The the government is not of the people, by the people, and for the people. The government is the all-seeing eye. At any given moment, they can take you down. They will take you down, and they're in collusion with pretty much, I believe, and I'd call me crazy, but I believe every corporate major in the world. I think they have a little room, somebody sits around and they're looking at things and they go, oh, have you heard about this new technology? Or have you researched this or do you see what's going on? And somebody says, yeah, that's a good idea. Well, how do you know the next person doesn't say, hey, that's going to affect our revenues by X amount of trillions of dollars. We can't have this being released to the market. And I'll use a simple example, cancer. And I'm going to pause there for a minute and say it again. Cancer. What's that? There's no cure? There's a cure. I guarantee there's a cure. If they can create a virus called COVID-19, release it into the world, play stupid, get 50% of the population to buy into the vaccine and mask mandate, and get us all to shut down and stop. Just stop with no guarantee of income, no nothing, done. If they can do that, they know they have a cure for cancer. They're just making too much money off of it. And if they can do that with a virus, what can they do with our dollar? Again, a pause. This is about making you guys think. You have to think. And you can't think with what you've been told. You have to think with what you haven't been told. If all you do is use the information that you've been given, you're just a useful idiot. If you have the intelligence to sit back, look at the situation, evaluate the problem, because everything is a problem, use your own intellectual capabilities to draw your own conclusion and entertain other ideas, you then become an intellectual. But if you cannot for one moment entertain the idea that you might be wrong, you might be a redneck. Not really. Rednecks deal with that all the time. But I'm just trying to get people to realize we're not perfect. None of us have the answer to save each and every one of us, but we do have an answer deep down inside of us to save ourselves. Now, does that look like the fairy tale Hollywood translation of what saving yourself is? Probably not. Each person ought to be different in the first place. Each version of success and wealth ought to be different because we are all individuals. It shouldn't be that, well, I grew up and I think I should have a big white house with a picket fence sitting on top of a hill and 3 kids and a dog and blah, blah, blah. That shit doesn't happen. I mean, it does if you buy into the system. You know, every one of us is born in the system. Land, your home is your most valuable asset. No, it's not. Nothing you own as far as real estate and property is an asset unless the income from it exceeds the expenses. You go buy an apartment building and your expenses are X amount of dollars per year, taxes, maintenance, upkeep, just keeping it up to code, those things. If that's X amount of dollars and your income from the units you rent are over that, now that's an asset. If you have a regular single family home, what income is it making? I'm waiting. Nothing. None of y'all got it. We've been conditioned to think, buy a house, build a family. All that is to condition us to keep paying taxes, to keep renting the American dream. Do you realize that, folks? We are renting our American dream. We don't own it. It's not ours. None of this is ours. It is a rent. It's a rental program. You think you make it. You think you've done good for yourself. You go get those things that we've been trained to go get as children or as young adults. You succeed beyond your wildest imagination, and you have these things. And you very quickly realize that when the income doesn't match the expenses, or the income is tapered enough that you're not, you have to start thinking about where the dollars go, you realize that none of this is an asset. It's only an asset when you die. What kind of asset is that? You're telling me that for me to gain the full benefit of my working career, I have to die and I don't get to enjoy it? Because let's be honest, that's where I'm at. I had the houses, I had the boats, I had all this stuff. And the one thing that I really wanted in my life didn't make me happy, but I needed it to have a business. So I kept going, I kept doing. Now, what I have and what I always wanted, I'm probably going to have to get rid of because I can't afford to rent it from the government anymore. And you can say, well, that's county, that's state, that's whatever. You're right, but it's still part of the government. Somewhere along the way, we have been fools to allow our state legislature, our county government, whatever, even up to a federal level, when you talk about income taxes, we have been fooled, and we are fools for allowing them to do this to us. There's no such thing as freedom in America. Freedom should be if you don't have a note on it, you should not be taxed on it. Period. It's yours. No more. Let's take that one step further. Vehicle registration. Where did you buy the vehicle? Doesn't matter what state it is, you have to register in that state, right? And you have to pay a sales tax on that vehicle because they know you bought it. And that's the whatever point it is when you bought it. So, but every year you have to go renew that license, that tag, to be able to drive your vehicle because that's how they're telling you have to be registered to drive it in the state. Well, how come I'm from Texas and I can drive across Oklahoma? Doesn't matter if I have an Oklahoma registration or even my Texas registration is current. They can't pull me over in Oklahoma for having expired Texas registration, right? They can't enforce Texas laws. So you can legally drive that vehicle across the state, whether it's registered in the state or not. So my point is, even your vehicles are taxed. You rent what you pay. You go buy a $100,000 truck, and let's be honest, every truck nowadays is probably going to cost about $100,000 if you want a nice truck that's going to get you down the road and be comfortable and look good doing it. $100,000, 8% sales tax in Texas, $8,000. If you register that vehicle personally, it's going to be another $200 or $300 a year, depending on your county, to keep driving it on the roads that you're already paying a fuel tax for to operate on those roads. I don't get it. We are fools for sitting here and buying into this bullshit that Texas is a blue state and we have a conservative legislature. We do not have a conservative anything. We've got a bunch of progressives that would rather see us all as slaves and not have a voice than be successful, independent, free Americans. Free. Free. Yes, I know that there is nothing free anymore. You have to pay for it. But guess what? If you go pay cash for your vehicle or pay cash for your property, it should be free at that point. You should be free from obsessive or overburdening of taxes. Why do you have to rent something that you already paid for? And look, one of my ideas is that as long as you have a note from the bank, you should be able to be taxed. You should pay tax income, whatever tax it is on it. That's fine. That's not fair, but it's fine because the majority of Americans don't go pay cash for a home or land or whatever else or a vehicle anymore. But as soon as that asset is paid for, it should no longer be taxed. You should be free from that burden. Folks, we've all got to wake up. Every last one of us. This is a long-term game that we are losing. They've conditioned us not to say what I'm saying. They've conditioned you not to speak out if it doesn't, because it might hurt you. It might alter your career path. It's going to hurt your career. Don't say what's really on your mind. It may hurt your career. may hurt your chance for promotion. What do you get what they're doing? The progressive, the liberals, this controlling cabal of people that think they know better than you and despise individualism have now taken over almost every business in America. And I can tell you, after 3 decades in the oil and gas business, they're here. People ask me all the time what I think's wrong with oil and gas. For years, I've said Wall Street got involved. Well, they did. And guess what is infiltrated and ruined Wall Street? Liberal progressives and those that cannot stand individuality and critical thinking skills. And where do the majority of those people live? Where do they operate? Do your own research. I'm not telling you to believe when I say do your own research. Where are the majority of progressives and progressive liberals who are predominantly, and I'm going to say this clearly, predominantly socialist communists? They live in academia and politics. Well, where do we send every one of our kids to go to school? Oh, graduate high school and go to college, get a good education, get prepared for the future, get prepared for the corporate world, go make money. No, we're brainwashing these kids in college, and us as adults are paying for it to be educated by the same people that we had to hide under our desk from during drills because they were going to annihilate the world. Communists and socialists. Do you understand what's going on here? We conservatives and constitutionalists were worried about surviving and providing. The communists and socialists were worried about inserting and insurgency. They inserted themselves into our education system to start an insurgency in our political system that has now migrated back to the education system, where we're brainwashing our kids and creating enemies within. And we're supposed to sit back and just say, it's okay, it's part of the cycle. It's not part of the damn cycle. This is an experiment that is failing at this point. As every American should have the ability to have critical thinking skills, look at things, evaluate themselves, and make their own decisions. So during 1776, I will wager there was less public education, we know for a fact. No government involvement in education, we know for a fact. But those people were smart enough to create the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the preamble to the Constitution, the Federalist Papers. There is probably less than 1% of our population could do that today. And if they could, they couldn't do it as clearly and coherently as those people did. So tell me what government's done. They have created a monster. A monster. And if you speak out against the monster, you're going to be crushed. They can't stand it. They stick together. They're so weak as a whole if they stand on their own that they all have to lock arms and hold hands and stand together in front of us people that believe in independence and believe in critical thinking. The only way to slay the monster is to stand up to the monster. There are more of us than there are them. You have to get in front of the politicians. You have to get in front of your local school board. You have to get in front of your local judges. And for those of you that work in oil and gas, and we're getting bent over by these corporate kids that go to education from these educational universities that are controlled by socialist communist pricks that make us sign master service agreements that say we agree to have this much insurance, we agree to carry this much workers' comp, we agree to work for you for a discounted rate, we agree to take pay in 120 days to be able to work for you. And then they pay us at 180 days, 190 days. They violate the contract that we have to sign to be able to get their business, and we're too damn scared or too much of pussies Pardon my French, but that's what you are, just like me. Afraid to tell them no, because if you tell them no or if you call them on their bullshit, you might lose your account. Well, I've learned the hard way. I'd rather work for people that pay me in 2 weeks and make less money than work for people that I have to wait a year to get paid from. And because guess what? A year from now, you don't know what their financial situation is. You're not the bank. Stand up to the asshole. Start calling them out on their bullshit. Let's go back to being oil field. You know, everybody's talking about landman this and landman that. Guess what? It can, and it was. Look, in the 80s, when everything went to shit, when I started in the 90s, there was no credit. You wanted a crew to come out, you better have a checkbook on location. That liaison, that landman, quote unquote, had a checkbook. He cut you the check before you left location, and most people wouldn't go on location unless there was a check waiting for them. And then times got better, and we started extending credit. And what did they do? They started taking advantage of it. Oh, I'll pay you, I'll pay you, I'll pay you. We all do it. If you work in the oil field, very few people pay their bills in 30 days. You want to get it down to 30 days? Your vendors start paying you, you start paying your vendors. Everybody, it's a circular economy. Your customer pays in 30, you pay in 30, and all of a sudden the money starts stacking up again. And then you can start paying bills in less than 30 days, just like every other working business does in America. You think Walmart could operate getting 120-day pay? No. I don't know any Walmart vendors that are complaining that they have to sign a contract that says they can't do anything, they can't factor their invoices, they can't have this or they can't have that, and they got to wait 120 days to get paid. I don't know anybody doing that. Not for Walmart, not for Target, but we do it in the oil field. So I guess it's over with. I'm just asking you people, it's a brand new year. It's not even a full week into it. We're in day 2. So on the second day of year 2025, ask yourself why you are not allowed to speak your mind, why you are afraid to speak your mind if you are allowed, and ask yourself why you are allowed to be bullied by people that don't understand how real life operates. Happy New Year, folks.